Alright. That's adorable. So, welcome everybody. Yes, you can tell by that couple seconds. I like fan art. Fan art's fun. And those two are adorable. That picture alone is just awesome. Now, anyways, chapter 17. The villain of the piece. The piece. Bringing you the truth no matter how bad it hurts. Well, that doesn't sound good.
For weeks, I've been holding on to the illusion that all of my questions would be answered if only I could get to 10 Pony Tower and talk to DJ Pony. Sitting across from
How'd you
Mom
get
at her
that?
tiny table,
Like,
talking over
idea?
ice cold sparkle colas,
How did she get that
I found
idea?
myself wondering how I had convinced myself. For instance, she hadn't been able to tell me anything about Red Eye. Apparently his operations were in one of the few places she couldn't look. If anything, Homage had more questions than I did. By the time I had finished giving her the inside story on what had really happened at Shatterhoof, and why I made the choices I did, the only real revelation was the realization that hanging all of your hopes on an assumption was going to get you nothing but hurt. "Thank you, little Pip," Homage said, offering me another slice of watermelon fresh from a tin can. "I always tell my listeners as accurately as my resources allow me to. You have no idea how grateful I am to have some pony fill in the gaps for once." I nodded. "And I'm grateful for the chance to tell my side of the story. My reputation seems to be getting out of control." Homage smiled. "Undeservingly?" She pointed a hoof at me. "You might not think of the things you do as anything special, but they are. Simply by treating the way you risk yourself to help others as something any pony would do, you show the wasteland a way to be better." Homage lifted a slice of centuries preserved watermelon to her hooves.
That
and
can't be good.
"You're
Just
right.
can't.
That's how ponies should treat each other. But in the equestrian wasteland, it's rare enough for a pony to be willing to expend valuable ammunition from afar to rescue a stranger, especially when they know that they might need those bullets tomorrow to save themselves and their families. Putting life and limb in danger?" Homage shook her head sadly. She had a beautiful mane of short blue hair that fell into her face as she did so. I reached up to brush it out of her eyes so she didn't have to put down the watermelon. "I'm afraid the equestrian wasteland has no shortage of Monterey Jacks, but faces a crippling lack of little Pips." "Why would he do that?" I paced in frustration. The mention of Monterey Jack had derailed the previous conversation. "I just don't understand it." Homage watched, surprised at my agitation. "Pride would be my guess. From what you've said, he doesn't really seem sorry about what he did." "It's a stupid law," I asserted, with a stomp of my hoof. Homage didn't seem to agree. 10 Pony Tower has extremely strict laws regarding anything that falls under raider activity to act as a deterrent. Try to remember, we're stuck
As
between
you
the raiders
should.
of Shadowed Hoof and the slavers from Philadelphia Crater. 10 Pony doesn't want to just keep undesirables out. They want to send a clear message to any pony from either group that might think of setting hoof near this place. Damn it. I hated to admit it, but that made sense. What still didn't make
You really
sense
should
to
have
me
thought
was
about
why
that.
Monterey Jack had confessed. The hope that Monterey Jack would be set free because he hadn't been a successful bandit wilted. I stopped and looked at Homage. He had to have known about it." I felt unsure, like I was grasping at straws. And worse, I felt responsible. As Homage had pointed out early in the conversation,
Don't feel
Monterey Jack was the one who tried to rob me, and he was the one who had made the damning confession. As far as she saw, I had no reason to feel guilty.
You
But that didn't
don't.
change how I felt.
You really pause this. You really don't. It's not really your fault. I mean, you pressed the charge when really, logically, in that situation, it wouldn't have worked out. But the fact that he confessed, it's not your fault. KK, you said I might change some of my feelings on Monterey. I still think he's kind of. I mean, I'll give it some more time before I share some more thoughts on Monterey. But wow, Lil Pip, you don't even realize that you're kind of putting on the moves, huh? To just brush that mane out of her face. You know, don't even ask. Oh wow. Jeez, girl.
The moment I had seen Monterey, all the feelings of betrayal flooded back, laced with righteous indignation.
Oh, hold on.
And I'd thrown a tantrum.
Oh yeah, it was. I understand why you threw a tantrum, because I mean, the first person you saved, the very first one, and he turned on you. So and you haven't had a chance to really get that out, so it's kind of been festering. It's understandable why you threw like sort of a tantrum, kinda. Maybe. I understand that perfectly. What I don't understand about Monterey Jack is, okay, she saved your life. Maybe you don't want to help her, that's fine. But at the very least, you didn't have to... Oh, shit, there goes a penny. You don't have to hold her up and try to steal her shit. I mean, you gave your piece about why you did it, but at the same time, common courtesy. Come on. Oh, my... Monterey Jack just boggles my mind. Yeah, I just used boggled.
Was there any chance he didn't know that they could execute him for what he admitted? Homage shook her head. Every citizen of Tempony knows the laws here. Getting permanent residence here takes a lot, and knowing the law is one of the easier requirements to meet. I groaned inwardly, confused and upset. Homage added firmly. Monterey Jack's had that cheese shop here for 5 years now, and before that he was a caravan guard for the merchants that the former shop owner got his supplies from. Monterey knows the law. Damn it. Homage and I walked together through Twilight Sparkle's Athenaeum. Every wall was covered with shelves, save for a couple reading nooks and 3 large vaulted windows that allowed cloud-grayed noonday light to spill into the library. Each shelf was filled with tomes, manuals, novels, and collected volumes of written work. Every pillar was ringed with more books. There was a large table in the center, standing not on legs, but a ring of bookshelves. Each chair had spaces under the armrests filled with even more books. Under the windows was a bed with neither books nor shelves, one of the scattered pieces of furniture, along with the table, refrigerator, chairs, and an old phonograph, that told me this was where Homage had made her home. That's a lot of books. Homage trotted over to the table where an ancient terminal sat, pouring out its green glow through a haze of dust. The pretty gray unicorn poked at it with a hoof, and an elegant voice floated out. Twilight, darling, we really must get together soon. It's been ages.
Oh,
and
Verity.
speak honestly, you need a rest. If any pony knows overworking herself, it would be me. Please, why don't you just take the morning off? Join Fluttershy and myself this week. We'll even make a trip to Manhattan. No need to come back to Canterlot. I'm sure they have lovely spas in Manhattan, too. Now, the reason I'm calling on the restricted line, I've just heard my ministry is about to purge the Ponyville Library of ideologically incompatible books.
No!
You want to keep them for yourself.
Wait. Which ministry? I don't want to go back and redo that, because... Was it ministry... I'm going to have to go back and reread that, because... It can't be the Ministry of Technology. Twilight's got to be so pissed about that. Oh my god, Equestria is becoming a police state. I mean, okay, we already knew it was becoming a police state. But, like... Purging... Oh my... Was that the Ministry of Morale? It's got to be the Ministry of Morale, right? Fuck, I gotta go... Pause the recording. No, it's Rarity's Ministry. Oh god, what is Rarity's Ministry again? Ministry of No, it's not Generosity. I don't know. But, what the fuck, Rarity? Oh, no. Okay, before I go on a fucking tangent here, let's keep listening. Maybe Rarity will give a reason before I go apeshit on her.
Ideologically incompatible books. I knew right away that you'd want to keep them for yourself. So I'm having this shipment diverted to you as well. I do hope you have enough room. I know the Ministry of Magic on Ministry Walk is a much bigger library, but we can't get away with diverting these wagons to Canterlot now, can we? If you are running out of space, now don't get mad, but you could ask Pinkie Pie for help. Her ministry has a hub in Manhattan too, after all. And she seems to find...
I'm not sure what Rarity's ministry is. I forget. It hasn't been brought up that much. So, unlike the Ministry of Magic and the Ministry of Morale, and the Ministry of Awesome, which also hasn't been brought up that much, but that's easy to remember. Twilight, were you okay with this? Were you okay with the purging of ideologically unsound books? I would expect a pony who values knowledge and learning as much as you realizes the problem with this. You know what does purging mean? Do they lock them away? Do they burn them? The last great book burnings that at least I know about occurred in Germany, 1930s. We all know what was going on there. Oh my God. Rarity doesn't even sound mad about. Like, so it sounds like a policy she helped make. I want to wring her neck. Like, I'm a hardcore liberal. That's a lie. I've talked about... Okay. My actual political affiliation, the ones that I feel closest with, would best be described as liberal fascism. Because I'm a weird dude. Like, I'm all about civil liberties and all that good stuff. So, just the idea of purging books of that might be subversive or ideologically unsound, it makes me angry. Like, I have a violent streak. I'm pretty good at controlling it, but when I get angry, I get angry. Like, I get violently angry. So I'm not. When I was a kid, I used to beat the shit out of people that made me pissed. But I got good at controlling that anger now. But when the idea of purging knowledge, of purging other ideas and ideologies, I just want to punch the person who says that. Like, that's wrong. That is fundamentally wrong. Like, just, it fills me with a sense of disgust. The very concept of a knowledge, like an ideological or knowledge or God forbid ethnic purge. Because you know, when you are at war, Equestria was at war with the Zebra Empire. That's an empire primarily composed of zebras. That's an entire race. And with the rate that pre-war Equestria is being sown to us, I wouldn't be surprised if they almost went that direction. And the zebras probably weren't any better. And let's be honest here, they probably weren't. But, oh my God. You guys remember in Smile HD, where Pinkie Pie was beating the shit out of Applejack, just constantly punching her? That's kind of what I want to do to Rarity. Just fucking slam her against the tree and just start pounding. You don't understand how big I am on freedom of information. The right... You have a right to learn. I mean, you may not exercise it. I'm not... Okay, you may not exercise it, but you have a right... Oh my God. I'm having a hard time explaining this, because... Rarity, what the fuck? She doesn't even sound apologetic. She doesn't even sound apologetic, like something this must be done. She's like, oh, yes, whatever. This world is hell.
Enough space for everything.
This world is my hell.
Does it? Anyway, I'm sorry to cut this short, but I've got to run. The designs for the covers of the revised books are ready, and I just can't let them go to the printers without making sure each one is perfect.
Oh my God! I live in America, so I know the whole doctoring of history thing. I mean, we do it to ours. Like, you read an American history book, it ain't all accurate. It's not the accurate portrayal, but they don't go that far. Oh my God. Pre-war Equestria would have been my hell. And you know who it is? It's Luna's fault. It's Luna's fault. All of this is Luna's fault. Oh, wow. It's also Celestia's fault, because apparently she gave up control to Luna. And Luna fucked it all up. She fucked it all up. Damn you, Luna. Just damn you back to the moon. Getting really angry over this. I'm smiling, but I'm also angry as hell. Wow. Did no... There are probably people who oppose this. Did... You know... Like, I mean, they are sending the unedited copies to Twilight, so maybe they hoped they... Oh, but no... Oh, wow. The... Post-war Equestria, if the Bellfire bombs didn't fall, and... Okay, let's say the war lasted as long as it did before the Bellfire bombs flew. That's 21, 22 years, which is fucking impossible for a industrial war to actually last that long. It would have been unfixable. Like, sure, you won. Throw the flag. Now, stop and look at what you did to your home. Look at the land you claim to love and you want to protect, and you would do anything for it. Now, stop and look at it. Look at what you've done to it. Sure, you said you would do anything, and you have done everything. You have, and by doing everything, you have ruined it. The sad thing is, I don't think they ever had that realization. Okay, with Tartarus and Elysium and, frankly, the bad shit they've done, they probably... Oh... They would have gotten to actually see it, so... That fills me with a sense of schadenfreude. Like, they have to look at what they've done. They have an entire afterlife, which is canon to the show, to look at what they've done. And that fills me with a sense of dark glee. But at the same time... Ooh... This... I know I won't get to see the realization on their faces, even though I know that judging from the show canon, they would have had to gone through it. Because that probably would have been the greatest torture, you know? Like, not burning coals or brimstones, but having to look and see that everything they've done isn't just for naught, but it was actively detrimental for their goals, for the things they love, that everything they did didn't just not help, but actively ruined. That would be torture. And that would be a fitting punishment. I go on a lot about Tartarus and Equestria, don't I? Like, I don't mean to get into the whole afterlife thing. I'm not religious, but the fact that Tartarus is real and the fact that Elysium and the underworld would have to be real at the same time really opens up doors and possibilities for, like, what's going on. It's just a concept I like to play around in my head. I went on a lot about the information purge, haven't I? Let's keep reading the story.
I looked from homage to the shelves with new respect. Not only a lot of books, but a lot of preserved, original versions of books. Homage glanced up to the one of the few walls that were only mostly covered in books. Above the bookshelf was a framed painting depicting a panoramic view of a desolate valley of dirt and rocks, and sitting on the shelf was a small clock of wood and brass. The big hoof was already halfway between the 8 and 1. The small hoof jabbed straight down at the 4. I'm sorry, but I really have to get back to the radio. There are reports to go through, and I have to check if the screen's caught anything. But please, feel free to stay here and browse the books until I get back. I'd love to talk some more, if you don't have any place pressing to be. I did not, and said as much, although I knew...
Go for it, little Pip!
...companions know what I was up to. I excused myself, promising to be right back. As I started to leave the Athenaeum, I remembered the records. Turning to Homage, I pulled them out and floated them towards her. She stared with wide eyes, like a birthday pony realizing that one of her presents was just the right size for the toy.
Affection up.
I found these in one of the stables.
I swear, whoever's playing Little Pip read the strategy guide. That's the only explanation.
I might find a good use for them. She bounced up and down, letting out a squee of delight. For the first time since the cheese shop, I felt happy with myself. Homage's horn glowed as she took possession of the records. You have no idea how much this means. Not just to me, but to Equestria. I was smiling brightly as I rode the elevator back down to my floor. I was still feeling happy as I trotted up to the door of our suite. The voices inside made me stop cold. The doctor here says he has a treatment that can remedy addictions, Velvet Remedy was claiming. I felt the happiness drained from me, replaced with crossness. Seriously? They were talking about this. Behind my back. They'd even talked to a doctor about it. A stranger,
Well,
no
little
less.
Pip, you're refusing to acknowledge the
Like
problem.
just giving Little Pip a pill? Calamity's dubious voice erased any question that they were indeed talking about me. Like, swallow this and all your problems go away? Oh no, Velvet Remedy replied. First, it's more involved than that, and it will take the better part of the day. Second, Dr. Helpinghoff was clear that the treatment only cleaned the patient's body of the drug and reversed the physical addiction. The psychological elements of her addiction will probably be with Little Pip for the rest of her life, but this will make it a lot easier for her. I raised my hoof to stomp it in fury, but then I set it down, not wanting them to hear. There were so many things wrong with this. First, how dare they? Second, what addiction? Easier how? I was perfectly fine. I hadn't had a party time mental in, 2 days? What kind of addict can say that? And 3, Helpinghoff? Really?
A few more than you think, little Pip.
I'm not so sure about this. Thank you, Calamity. Now tell her to fuck off. Instead, he neighed. Little Pip don't exactly handle feelings of betrayal well. I've seen her reaction to the stables we've been in. Oh yes, and that's nothing compared to the way she flew off at the cheese shop owner, Velvet Remedy agreed. Perfect. So, was that what she was doing when I asked her to look into the laws of Monterey Jack's impending execution? Talking to doctors about problems they're both pretending I have? We'll have to be very careful in how we approach this. Velvet Remedy was continuing with her absurdity. Even if we can get Little Pip treated, it won't do any good if we lose her because of it. Without friends, who will just keep her from taking... That was enough.
What?
I headed back to the library.
What are you gonna say?
If Velvet Remedy and Calamity didn't know where I was and got
Well?
worried, well, they deserved it. Homage was a gracious hostess, which I was especially grateful for since I had no urge to see Velvet Remedy or Calamity anytime soon. The pretty gray unicorn helped me find a few books.
Oh, now you're thinking she's pretty, huh?
And left me to read as she disappeared up to the broadcast.
I already know these two get together.
For the next few hours, I pored over the original editions of Big Book of Arcane Sciences and Today's Locksmith.
I mean, that's no
Doing
damn
comparative readings with
secret.
the copies I already owned, making notes and learning quite a lot about both subjects. Apparently, making books ideologically compatible also involved removing the sorts of information that could inspire troublemakers. I smiled a little, realizing that the cutie mark questing activities of my youth would definitely put me in the troublemaker category. Homage trotted into the Twilight Sparkle Athenium a little over 2 hours later. Floating aside her were the records and an old phonograph that I had spotted before. While I read, she sat and listened to the music, her head bobbing softly to the beats. Only once was my study interrupted. Homage got about
That
halfway
fucking
through a rather energetic
ideologically
song about many friendships
Oh
notably.
my... I
The
can't
assertion in
speak
the chorus
straight.
that life without friends, quite bluntly, sucked, struck home pointedly enough that I wasn't able to focus on my reading anyway. Suddenly, Homage stopped the song and restarted it from the beginning. The thought crossed my mind that maybe she was feeling a connection to the lyrics as well, but it was erased with her proclamation. Okay, I can't just listen to this song. I have to dance to it. I looked up and nodded politely, then started reading again.
Go for it,
no,
Pip!
she stomped. I'm not going to dance in front of a guest who isn't dancing herself. That would be way too awkward. The whisper of a thought had barely begun to form in my head when she obliterated it. So, get up. My head shot up, startled. The song didn't really make me feel like dancing, no matter how bizarrely upbeat the music was in connection to the lyrics, and I felt awkwardly shy about displaying my complete lack of dancing skills in front of Homage.
Hey,
But I
compared
didn't
to
have
the
any
parties
to her,
the main six had where they
especially
just like
considering
move
this was
around
her
a little,
library and her home,
whatever you
and
do
I
is
had
gonna
given
be
her this
grand.
gift. So, we danced. And while it was awkward at first, Homage wasn't much of a dancer either, making up her lack of skill with creative vigor. Her smile and energy were infectious.
Is she Twilight
I found myself
dancing?
letting go. By the end of the song, I was really
Pretty good.
enjoying myself, and I felt a twinge of sadness when the song ended. The next song was much slower, and for a moment I felt awkward, but I distracted both of us by asking about the painting above the clock. That is a painting of Splendid Valley, Homage stated, wiping her hair out of her face. I lifted an eyebrow. It doesn't look splendid. Oh, it isn't. It's a terrible place. Makes camping in the Everfree Forest look as inviting as a day at the spa. Homage put over my shoulder. Stay well away. I had never heard of Splendid
There
Valley.
be Death
Much
Claws.
less had any desire to go near there. But that made me wonder, why would Twilight Sparkle have a painting of such a place in her library? I felt
Oh, there's a secret facility there.
Certainly it wasn't terrible before the war.
Stable.
On the other hoof, it certainly wasn't splendid, or even pretty. It was barren and uninviting, and the painting didn't fit with the rest of the Athenaeum, neither in palette nor in mood. It was like an unwanted visitor. There's a Ministry of Magic facility out there.
I knew it! Not so
like
secret.
This, Amish clarified. There's a huge network of caves and caverns under Splendid Valley. Early after the Ministry's inception, the MAS cleared the natives out of those caverns and set up a gem mining operation out there. After they claimed the Valley of Gems, they started using the empty caverns as a disposal site for some of the byproducts of the Ministry's magical experiments. My mind conjured up images of monsters and grotesqueries. Amish seemed to sense the direction of my imagination and kindly redirected it. Barrels full of weird magical toxins. In the last months of the war, the Ministry of Magic was apparently retooling the facility for something else, but I don't think they ever finished.
There's some shit down there. There's probably some good loot.
Ponies. Well, those who bother to learn about history at all believe that Manhattan was the second. But Splendid Valley was hit minutes before. I made a note to avoid weird magical toxins and a megaspell radiation.
No, just get some power armor, because apparently according to Fallout 4, that shit is radiation proof. Well, mostly radiation
broadcast station to take on the guys.
I love that. I love that fact. That's such a cool idea.
Watching her transform both in voice and mannerisms as she stepped into the mic. And it's time for another DJ Pony survival tip. Today I want to talk to you about two of the biggest threats you might stumble across in the Equestrian wasteland. No, not ratigators, bloodwings, or even hellhounds. No, children, today I want to talk to you about their mothers. That's right, pull up a chair, cause it's time for DJ Pony to talk to you about the dangers of radiation and taint.
Oh, for some reason I thought we were talking about Deathclaws.
The voice of the Equestrian wasteland. Magical radiation, as we all know, is a side effect of powerful and wicked magic released violently on Equestria. Naturally, the biggest and worst zones of radiation are found in places like Philadelphia Crater, the Manhattan City Center, and pretty much everywhere the megaspells hit except for Cloudsdale and Canterlot, both of which should be avoided for other reasons. But even a recently exploded skywagon can be radioactive. Fortunately, so long as you always carry your radiation detectors, kids, these places can be avoided. The Morin City's threat of radiation is that it bleeds into food and water. Always drink purified water whenever you can. Make sure you carry several canteens wherever you travel, and fill them at every safe water supply. Keep a healthy supply of Rataway. Most of this I already knew, thanks to the Wasteland Survival Guide, so I was only half listening. I had to admit, despite Monterey Jack and the stupidity of my friends, this had been one of the better days of my life. But it was beginning to get late, and my anger towards Velvet and Calamity, while still very present, had dulled around the edges. It was time to return to them.
Alright, we're cutting off there. Like, I spent most of this video ranting about, like, Equestria's new government and how they were basically going down the route of Nazism. Not fascism, because that's kind of different. Like, a lot of people interchange them a lot, but Nazism is like an even worse version of fascism. Like, fascism is just... It's Starship Troopers. Starship Troopers is pretty much a fascist state. A benevolent fascist state. But, oh man, just ideological. I'm going to go play some Fallout 4, and I'm going to go shoot some people. Because, fucking Luna ruined Equestria, didn't she? She really ruined it. Also, if you're wondering about that picture I had at the beginning, one true pairing. One true pairing right there. That picture was adorable. And yeah, I'm a shipper. I don't care.